The article I chose talks about Life Simple 7, which is the American Heart Association has listed 7 factors that they consider contribute to greatly to cardiac health. And this article tested these 7 factors, and quantitatively, researchers looked at how that directly affects health. So the 7 factors are nutritious diet, not smoking, regular exercise, controlled blood sugar and cholesterol, a managed weight, and controlled blood pressure. Researchers were able to find that even a slight increase in these 7 factors, for example, patients moving from an overweight scale, from an obese scale to being overweight, could have a significant effect on their health, a significant decrease in certain condition, the possibility of getting conditions, and just an overall increase in improvement in health outcomes by focusing on these 7 things. And the article also goes on to talk about an 8th thing that the American Heart Association added after, which is sleep. And it talks about the specific instances of sleep that is necessary for different ages and years, and just general how small changes can make a big difference in your health outcomes. I chose this article because I think it connected greatly to week 1 in the concept of health communications as a whole, and as well as week 3 with patient perspectives and provider perspectives. In week 1, we looked at Dupree chapter 1, and in Dupree chapter 1, it talks about how there's no us and them when it comes to healthcare communication. It's talking about this in a socioeconomic factor when taking that into consideration. And I think that for this article, it's communicating the effects of these 7 things, I think, to all demographics. I think that it's not specifically targeting people who have great access to more healthy vegetables and things like that, but I think that the way that it's written in talking about how small changes can lead to big effects, I think that in that way it's going to be efficiently communicated to people who might not have the resources to get significantly healthy food or start exercising so many more minutes in the day, but by the phrasing of the article and by them talking about small changes and the little things that people can do even with little ability, I think that this is a great way to communicate the health information in a way that's digestible by all. And I wanted to talk about the patient perspective and provider perspective and how that might contribute to this article as well. This article talked a lot about diet, cholesterol, blood sugar, exercise, and I think that as someone from a very intersectionalized point of view, I think that these factors can rely significantly on other cultural factors, things such as race, your nationality, your just culture in general, like how you grow up. Because, for example, growing up in Nigeria, we don't eat a lot of raw vegetables, and there's not necessarily a push for exercise because that's not the focus. So I think that this article, it talks about these 7 factors in a very Americanized way, in my opinion, and I think that it does not do a good job of taking into perspective different cultural perspectives as well. So I think that the article really made me think about that just based off of the words that they used and the specific factors themselves and how they have such ties to cultural definitions as well. But the discussion question I wanted to pose to the group is, when reading this article, did cultural significance come up to you as well? I'm really curious if it's my perspective that made me think about cultural and patient perspectives when reading this article, or if just the general 7 factors, if they are heavily intersectionalized in other people's minds as well.